Welcome in, guys, and I am back again on the wrestling channel talking about why is AEW not must-see TV. Now, I know a few weeks ago we had that great work shoot promo from MJF, and ever since then, and even since, let's even take it back from even April 20th, 2 months ago, when they last hit 1 million viewers, I don't see anybody in the wrestling world big like the Meltzers and Alvarez's of the world talking about how AEW hasn't hit 2 million in 2 months. Like 2 million, like 1 million in 2 months. And I don't want to hear about the NBA Finals or the Eastern Conference or the Western Conference bullshit. How about you have some of your wrestlers from AEW come to an NBA game, and then you would have at halftime. You would have like Nick Jackson and Matt Jackson. These guys are from AEW Dynamite. Check those guys out Wednesday on TBS or TNT for Rampage. But you don't want to do that. You want to think about Forbidden Door and focus on the first problem I had here is that AEW focus too much is on the hardcore fan base. These neck-bearded fucking marks that are loving the inside jokes. I don't mean shit. Are not drawing shit. They want to have Forbidden Door. What? This Forbidden Door isn't going to gain New Japan Pro Wrestling a bigger following than it already has on Access TV. They're not going to spike in the ratings because of how great Forbidden Door was this Sunday. It's just going to be so the hardcore fan base and the Meltzers and the Alvarez's of this world can talk about it and geek out over how fucking great Okada was and how great Will Ospreay was and how great Zack Sabre Jr. was, and all these guys are not established on TV. So you're giving Will Ospreay TV time, you gave Okada, Jay Wyatt, Tanahashi TV time over your actual AEW wrestlers that have started with your company and been there week in, week out. And then when you have, like I said, these other people from other companies coming, like a Lucha AAA or a New Japan Wrestling or a DDT Pro Wrestling or a now Ring of Honor, which Tony Khan bought in February, a dead Ring of Honor, let's be honest, a dead Ring of Honor, and you're putting it on Rampage and you're like, Dream Match, Trent Brennan versus Samoa Joe for a Dream Match. The only Tony Khan Ring of Honor is dead. Nobody cares about Ring of Honor. It's just purely wrestling. And if you're just having a wrestling orientated product, it's not going to do well. Like, that's why Ring of Honor never got a big TV deal, because it was purely wrestling. Yes, you had characters like your Adam Coles of the world and your Hangman Pages and whatever, but it was just about wrestling flips and kicks and dives so you can place the neck-bearded marks. If you want to actually grow your company, how about you actually branch out to the casual viewer? And then, I don't know, you could have Luchasaurus selling Luchasaurus mask, and then you could have the Lucha Bros selling mask, and shit like that, and you can actually grow your own company instead of focusing on New Japan Pro Wrestling, because that's not going to grow any further than it is. Let's be honest. Then, number 2 I came up with is the creative freedom / overload of the roster. So let's talk about the creative freedom. I am tired of this whole creative freedom of anytime anybody comes in from a New Japan or WWE's, you come here, the guys and girls are going to get creative freedom. That's good for them, because the wrestlers are the biggest marks for themselves. They want to have creative freedom so they can put themselves on top, and so that means they don't have to go, that doesn't work for me, brother, I'm not putting this guy over. And they want to book, and some of their storylines are not that good. And that's why you need writers in. I'm not saying you need like a whole WWE level of creative team where it goes through 20 or 30 creative writers and shit like that. Because, again, just have a couple of writers that, you look at your roster that needs character building. You look at a couple of guys like a Brian Pillman Jr. You look at the Lucha Bros. Majority of that roster needs writers in that team. Sheeta, what makes Sheeta so special that you're putting her on TV? I know she's not been on TV recently, but before then she was on TV a lot. Why was she on TV more? Again, give us a reason why Sheeta is so special to be on TV. I like Sheeta as a wrestler, but what makes her special as a character that she's gained this TV time? And then the other thing is the overload of the roster. Stop signing these guys from WWE. Like, it was good at first, it's okay at first when you was having Jericho and Jim Ross and John Moxley coming, because you need to build a brand. And I understand that, but now you're having Punk come in, Adam Cole come in, who else came in? Athena came in, Ruby Soho came in, Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish, Roger Styles going to come in, and if after NXT, whenever, Cesaro maybe on Sunday, well, today when Forbidden Door airs, and there's too many people. You only have 3 hours of primetime TV. Not everybody. You need to trim some of the fat. Not everybody needs. You don't need a big roster. Just trim some of the fat you're not using and have a couple of 5 or 6 or 7 guys that you want to build, guys or girls you want to build a company around, and then you can rotate them the week after and the week after, and you can start building a brand. You don't have to have people on the roster that don't give shit to AEW. Do not draw money to AEW. So again, Tony Khan, less is more with the roster. Less is more, and get some writers in for your talent. The third thing is the one thing I've had problem with AEW that since it's been kind of in existence is that when they bring in a wrestler or a wrestler has a match with whoever. Take example for this past week on Dynamite. We had Hangman Adam Page versus Silas Young. Now, the hardcore fans are going to, oh well, Hangman Page and Silas Young had a match in Ring of Honor. Why the hell are we focused on a dead brand in Ring of Honor? Yes, they feuded years ago in Ring of Honor, but you're giving primetime TV to Silas Young, a 44-year-old man. You're giving him primetime TV, and you're telling your fans, oh well, if you see Ring of Honor streaming or whatever the fuck it is, Sinclair Broadcasting, you can see how this feud began. No, stop telling your audience where to watch shit, because nobody gives a fuck about how Hangman Page and fucking Silas Young had a fucking feud. Focus on your own roster, and then tell a story about your own individual talent that makes them like, who was a Will Hobbs, who was a Ricky Starks, who was a, I don't know, Jungle Boy, whatever, who's a Darby Allin, who's a, you guys know what I mean, and you build up your own shit instead of telling fans, especially like you have Will Ospreay come in and Tanahashi come in, and you expect that the casual viewer would actually know who Will Ospreay is, who Tanahashi is, or you're telling them to go to subscribe to New Japan World instead of actually doing a vignette. I know you did a vignette for Tanahashi this past week, but again, it was 2 weeks too late. Again, do better of telling a story, especially JR and Tony Schiavone. Like, and Excalibur. Excalibur is shit on commentary. Number 4. Now, this is one that I've seen a lot since AEW started, but more recently since Punk has come back. And that is due with the toxic fan base that AEW has created, especially Tony Khan. Ever since Punk came back last summer, and he did that press conference, he's like, you know what? I got Punk back. This is how Tony Khan has been. He's like, I got Punk back. I did something that Vince couldn't do, or Impact, or New Japan, or Ring of Honor couldn't do. I got Vince back. I got Punk back in the pro wrestling. And anytime that a fan criticizes him, if the ratings are down or this happens, he's like, nobody gives a fuck about you. Like, Tony Khan's being a bitch on Twitter, like saying, oh, Big Swole wasn't a good wrestler and shit like that. Like, yes, Big Swole may not have been a good wrestler, but Tony Khan, it was your job to make sure that she was actually ready for primetime TV. You put her on primetime TV. You shouldn't be telling your talent, your former talent, that they're not good on the internet. Keep it inside. Keep it in-house, and then talk about that later. You don't see Vince going on Twitter or Triple H saying, oh, I released this said wrestler because he's bad, she's bad. No, they say it in-house. They don't want to get that shit online because it looks bad for the company. Again, the 5, I'm going to say 5 and 6. I'm going to say like 5 and 6 are the same in this opinion, but number 5 I had is that, I've talked about it before in my Double or Nothing video I did. Well, I think it was like a month ago. The booking of a world champion or any champion in AEW is the drizzling shits, and it needs to be questioned and called out. Hangman Page was world champion since November to May, and his world title reign, he had like a good match with Bryan. You know, he had a good couple of matches with Adam Cole. But apart from that, his world title reign was like Thunder Rosa, who becomes women's champion, rarely gets featured on the show. Jade Cargill, who's a top star, you know, she gets featured, but she's not really getting any matches. And if she does have a feud, it's like, oh, we're gonna put Anna Jay on TV because she's got X amount of wins on YouTube and shit. When was the guy's TV win to actually want her to have a title match? And then this is number 6. Most of the roster, again, you look at some of the roster, they need to work on the character building. You know, there's some good characters in AEW that are going to be who are stars, but again, you look at some of them, like the Lucha Bros need work. House of Black is a mess. You know, you need to work on character building. And what I thought, the good reason I thought that having a William Regal in in AEW was that he's gonna teach these guys and girls how to be a character, how to be a performer, how to get over as a heel or a face. But again, you're putting these guys on TV. Some of them are not ready. Maybe you should put some of them. I was talking about these partnerships earlier, but you should have maybe some of them go to Impact Wrestling, because like a Brian Pillman Jr. goes to Impact Wrestling for a year, or you have Sheeta go for a year, and then she develops her character on a smaller TV network, and then comes back, and then she's a well-rounded performer. But yeah, these are my 6 reasons why AEW is not must-watch TV.